हेलो एंड नमस्ते। मेरा नाम श्रेयश है एंड आई वेलकम यू ऑल टू अनदर एपिसोड इन आवर पॉडकास्ट सीरीज। इंडिया में जब भी हम ग्रेजुएशन के बाद मैनेजमेंट कोर्सेज की तरफ जाते हैं तो एक डिग्री जो हमारे दिमाग में आती है इज़ दी एमबीए। But today we're going to talk about another management course which could be a very good opportunity for you, especially if you want to do your masters from abroad. I'm talking about the Masters in Management program, commonly known as MIM. इस डिग्री के बारे में कम अवेयरनेस है कि किसको करना चाहिए, किसके लिए है, एमआईएम और एमबीए में क्या डिफरेंस है, आरओआई कैसा है, जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, लैंग्वेज बैरियर्स तो नहीं है, एंड मेनी अदर थिंग्स। इन्हीं सब चीज़ों को डिस्कस करने के लिए वी हैव विद अस ईशा। Isha has completed her MIM from ESCP Business School in France. After graduating, she worked with Mercer as a senior consultant and is currently working as a customer success manager at Cruncher in the Netherlands. So, welcome, Isha. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Shreyash, and thank you so much for having me. And I think it's a great initiative to help out students understanding what MIM is. And I'm happy to be here and answer your questions.
So, let's start with a bit of your educational background.
Sure. So I grew up in India, in Delhi, and I opted for commerce subjects. Later on, I did BCom honors from Delhi University, and then I wanted to pursue masters. So I applied to France and got into masters in management.
Okay, so you had some work experience before going for an MIM.
Yes, yes. So before I started with MIM program, I did work for KPMG back in audit, and I worked for like 1.5 years, and I realized that I would want to do something else. And for me, master seems like a great option to explore different fields.
Yeah, my next question was revolving around that only. Ki at what point did you decide ki I need to go for a business school degree? What was your thinking at that point?
Yeah, so it I think depends a lot on are you what kind of field you're working in. Since I mentioned that I was in audit, it required more for me to progress ahead to pursue either ACCA or CA. I wasn't sure about that. I wanted to understand business further, and still I wasn't sure at that time what I actually want to study or specialize in. So I thought doing a master's is a great option because you end up studying a lot of subjects, and that's what my plan was to explore further. And I decided to do my master's then.
For students new to the term, what exactly is MIM and who should do it and how does it differ from an MBA?
Yeah, right. So MIM is basically master's in management. Anybody who's interested to understand business or get into a business school, then for sure should consider MIM and as a fresher or with a work experience of 1 to 2 years. Anybody who's got more than 3 to 5 years of work experience or more should consider MBA. In terms of curriculum, they're quite similar, like the subjects are also very similar to each other. The only thing that matters is the work experience and also your class profile. For MIM, the class profile is quite young. The average age is like 22 to 25. For MBA, it's usually above 27, 28 with people from more than 5 years of work experience. So yeah, that's what is the major differentiating factor between both the programs.
So, why did you choose to go for an MIM from abroad over an Indian MBA?
Yeah, right. So that's a good question because I actually always wanted to do MBA from India, and so I started applying. I applied for CAT, and I got into a couple of IMs. I got shortlisted there, but those were not like the colleges I actually wanted to be in. So I tried to give it a shot, and I realized that CAT is also accepted in some of the French B schools. So I applied, and it kind of worked out for me. I did the applications, I gave the interview, and then I had the option to either pick Indian colleges for MBA or the French school for MIM. And I always wanted to study abroad, so I thought it's a great
Yeah.
opportunity. So basically, took a leap of faith, and yeah, I moved to France for my studies.
Okay. One more query that people have is that should we wait for a couple more years, get some work experience? So you were working, suppose you are working in a firm and then you say that I've completed 2 years now, and should I
Right.
wait for another 2 years and then apply directly for MBA? What is your thought process for that?
So I think it's a very it's quite subjective because For me, I did not want to wait a lot of years doing or working in a job where I'm not sure if I want to, build my further career in.
Yeah.
So I decided after 1.5 years that this is not the best timeline for me. So I thought MIM is better because I just had like 1.5 years of WorkEx. It's a very it depends on everybody's individual timeline. If you think
Yeah.
and how you plan it. So, for example, if you already have 4 years of work experience, then maybe probably just go for MBA, and MIM might not be the right choice. So it depends a lot on an individual profile actually, and how they want to plan their career ahead.
If we talk about a bit of the application part, which schools did you apply for and how did you like shortlisted them? Any important tips for shortlisting the schools?
Yeah, so I have been helping students out like in shortlisting schools, how to, go about the application process, essay writing, interview prep, and what I always suggest is to take GMAT or GRE, and CAT is not the best option because it
Yeah.
kind of limits your business schools. Through CAT you can only apply to 5 French business schools, but if you take
Okay.
GMAT or GRE, I think you have a wider pool of colleges to pick from. So I always suggest students to go for that option, and
Yeah.
try to categorize your school selection in different buckets, like for example dream schools, safe schools, competitive schools, so that you at least get one or two shortlists and then you can make a choice. Apply in early rounds. That's one advice I always suggest or give to students. And yes, try to like put your try to be safe in terms of applications, and try to apply to at least 3 to 5 business schools.
Okay. Coming to applying early, does it differentiate if you apply in early rounds or round one, round two? Does it create a difference?
Sure, sure. I think that's one of the things I could have improved in my application, was to apply for an earlier round, because I applied in round three. It's still
Okay.
not that late, but I think you miss out on a lot of scholarship opportunities. If you apply in round one, that's the best case scenario, and you have all your scholarship deadlines still open. You can choose and see which one suits you the best. So I think round
Yeah.
one and round two are a good choices. But in case you have missed out, it's not something to stress about. Round three and round four also, is still open, and business schools do keep their seats vacant for these rounds as well.
And one more thing, if you whenever your profile is completely ready, that's the best time to apply.
Right, and also when you're happy with your scores, if you think you need to take a GMAT retake, then probably just wait and take a retake and then apply to the round.
Okay. Next question was, while selecting the schools, what
Yeah.
should we take care, like the ranking, ROI, specialization, the geography of the school? Because language can be again a bit big part.
Yeah, so that's very important, because you do need to like consider a lot of factors before you actually make a choice, and ranking is one of them for sure. I was targeting top 5 or top 10 schools in France, I would say, and I had a list of schools which I was sure that if I get an admission here, then I would probably take the move. Also, the country, that also matters a lot. Like, are you comfortable moving to Germany, France, or maybe you want to go to Italy? So that's one thing you need to still figure out, because it's important. Or if you actually learn the local language, or are you willing to learn the local language of that country? So that's there. And of course, the specialization and the program which you're interested in. I would suggest look for the top business schools in the specialization or the course program you're interested in, and see if the curriculum aligns with your interest. Where would you eventually want to be in after completing your masters? Talk to
Yeah.
alumni, because that also helps a lot in understanding how the college is and which career fields they're currently working in. So it's like a combination of all these factors, and that's when you decide that if the school is a great fit for you.
Yeah. If you could mention some of the top colleges that people should target for an MIM, because one thing that I've heard was that you should always go for a top school when you are considering MIM.
Yeah, no, right. I agree. But of course, the ranking is available every year. You can look at FT rankings, and they're quite easily available on internet. But of course, getting into a highly ranked business school is always advantageous. But
Yeah.
if I've also seen students who are not into that highly ranked business school, but still doing great in their career, and it's like it also depends a lot on the student and how well you're making use of your master's program. School, a highly ranked school definitely helps, but that's not the only thing which is going to help you in going ahead in your career. It's more about the student profile and how actively you are participating, or how well you're upskilling, building your profile, doing well with the interviews. Those things matter also.
Yeah. So you gave the CAT exam. What was your
Right.
percentile, if you want to share, and which colleges does fall in that?
Yeah, so for CAT exam, the colleges are quite limited if you're talking about French schools. In terms of percentile, it depends a lot on the student profile. I would suggest if you have more than 90 percentile, then I think you can consider. But
Okay.
again, the schools are limited, and I would still suggest students to go
Yeah.
for other GMAT or GRE, and CAT is not the best option. But if you're still keen, and if you're not sure that if you're not 100%, if you're not 100% sure about moving abroad, then of course CAT can also be as a backup option to get into Indian MBA colleges.
Okay. What about the English test scores? Is TOEFL, IELTS required while applying there?
For me, it was not required because I actually submitted a certificate that I did my bachelor's in English, and you just need to get it stamped with the college, and it was accepted by ESCP.
Yeah. Okay. So coming to a profile segment, a lot of good colleges not only look for the good test scores but also your overall profile.
Right.
What constitutes a good profile?
Yeah, so I think for a good profile, of course, apart from your test scores, your work experience also matters. Probably if you've done internships or a full time work experience, then that counts as brownie points in your profile building. If somebody's actively involved in extracurriculars, then that's also something great. It can be sports, it can be leadership experiences, teamwork, probably volunteered somewhere. So all these things count a lot. If you've done some sort of research, have some papers published, again, it's really nice. And apart from this, also in terms of academics, yeah, your scores for your GPA, class 12 scores, and your bachelor's GPA would also adds a lot of weightage to your profile and just shows that you're academically driven.
Okay. Okay. So, in the application requirement, one of the things is resume. A lot of people have confusion in what to put in resume. Sometimes you are short of things to put into. Maybe some certifications might help or other things. In that case, what should a person do? Maybe how to more quantifiably tell what things he has done. Any tips on
Right.
that?
Right. So, assuming if you do not have any work experience, or if you're if you're fresher, then for sure, you need to focus on your education section of the resume. Tell your bachelor score, the core subjects you did, what was your probably GPA. If it's good, then you can also mention your school for class 12 details, and probably if you've done some certifications, then I think that's great to show that you're still like to upskill your profile. Then you can put that. You can also put your skills, your hobbies, the languages. All these things actually comprise of good resume. What else?
Okay.
I think if you have done internships, maybe if even if it's an unpaid internship, then for sure I think you can always put it.
Okay. So, anything particular in your profile that do you feel like added value to the uh, maybe give you an edge over other competitors?
Well, I think I had a pretty decent profile. It was not something extraordinary, but also I believe that it was a profile which was very similar to the applications ESCP already gets. And but I think they what they really look for is like diversity, and
Okay.
probably because I have a non-technical background, maybe that puts me a little different from the Indian pool of applicants. Work
Yeah.
experience in audit, and also I done a lot of internships or volunteering, and I've done a lot of internships as well as volunteer experiences, a lot of things in extracurricular leadership and teamwork in back in college in my bachelor's. So I think I made sure that I highlight those points in my resume, and I think yeah, that worked for me.
Okay, one more point that I want to add was that while applying to the particular school, you should be uh, looking for what the school wants. So if you can build your profile around that, that might be more helpful to getting shortlisted in that.
Um, Well, it's always difficult to gauge what the school
Okay.
wants because at the end it depends a lot on the admission committee. I would just say that put your best step forward and prepare well, be it in terms of your exams or your GPA or your experiences, and let's just try to build a strong holistic profile and just
Okay.
like apply and see if it's a great fit for both you and the admission committee as well. So yeah, I think it's always a bit tricky to understand what the school wants.
Yeah. Okay. Coming to the essays part, what should one write in an essay that increases his chances? Because it's the way you can show the university what, or you can tell your life story through that essays SOPs. What should a good essay constitute in?
Right, like so that's a good question because I've been helping students with their essay writing. I think an essay should be well structured. It's always nice if you could make it in the form of a story, and when I'm reading an essay, if it looks like your life story, then I think that's when the reader or the admission committee would really connect. Don't try to divert the question which you're being asked, and make sure that you've understood the question well, what the business school is trying to ask, and be to the point. Don't try to copy. You can always take inspiration from other essays, but it kind of shows when you have when it's not your original work.
Yeah.
I would also suggest or to refrain from using AI, and because plagiarism is something which business schools are quite serious about. Also, try to make sure that you've read multiple essays before of other students as an inspiration so that you get an idea of the flow of writing and how
Okay.
well they've structured their essays and what kind of experiences they are talking about. Try to get it
Okay.
reviewed. I've been helping students regarding that as well. Once you get a review, I think it's always better to get a different perspective on how it feels to read your essay. Feedback is always like super important because it helps you improve the edits. Also, do a very thorough research in the business school so that you can reflect that in your essays and actually convince the admission committee that why you want to pursue that program or why this particular business school. Don't try to copy the essay structure or answers when you're applying to different business schools because even if the question sounds quite similar, uh, try to focus on one business school at the time and understand what their USP is and make sure that you incorporate that in your essays. Talking to alumni also helps a lot because then you understand that the kind of field they're working in. Sometimes students also mention they spoke to alumni and it really helped them in understanding the school better. Try to show the efforts that try to show that you've put genuine efforts in understanding what the school is about and what the program expectations are. So try to
Okay.
make sure that it's your original work and sounds like a good story where you're genuinely passionate about the experiences you're sharing with, and when you're reading you're able to convince the when you're writing you're able to convince the reader that this is the school you genuinely want to be a part of and you can contribute well as a student and later on as an alumnus.
Yeah. True. What about the LOR part? So most of the schools want academics and professional LORs. So number
Right.
one question: if somebody doesn't have work experience, then how should he get that professional LOR?
So, if somebody does not have a work experience, then ideal situation would be that maybe you've done some sort of internship in a startup or like in a company, and if you can ask them for a professional LOR.
Okay.
But if that's not the case, then it's okay to get to give two educational or like academic LORs, and you can ask two of your professors whom you have worked with, or maybe they've taught you and they know who you are as a student, and I think that
Yeah.
also should work. But if
Okay.
you're genuinely confused about LOR or certain other questions and you're not sure how to proceed, then it's always better to drop an email to the admission committee. And trust me, they are very active, especially when the rounds are open. And right now, the round one applications are open. You can drop them an
Okay.
email, and most of the times they get back to you and help you out in your queries. They also conduct webinars regularly, so join that, attend them, and you can also like ask your questions directly.
Any tips on a good LOR?
Yes, so I think for LOR, again, the structure is very important. Try to tell what you have worked upon, what were the probably projects you did on, and what you actually learned out of it, what kind of skills helped you succeed in those projects, and also like what did you eventually learn. Maybe it, you gained good leadership skills, or you developed confidence out of the project, then probably try to explain that in a better way. And also make sure that you have shared a good professional relationship with the person who's writing your LOR, because then it's just easier for them to vouch for you, and it also sounds
Yeah.
very credible.
Yeah. And moreover, it connects with your story, or maybe it
Yes,
confirms
right,
with
right.
what you are writing in your essay and LORs. That yeah.
Exactly.
So, so did you feel that your prior work experience played a part in your application or boosting it?
I think, yeah, it did, because one of my LOR was with my manager, so definitely it holds value. Also, since I had gained professional experience in a good company, it does give you some sort of
Yeah.
weightage, probably some leverage over other applicants, and yeah, I think it also just builds a good profile overall.
Okay. And if somebody doesn't have that work experience, then what could he do to just balance or increase his chances?
Um, I think for those cases, probably you can, show the different aspects of your profile. Maybe you've
Okay.
done some webinars or some sort of certifications, or probably some sort of extracurricular activities which I already touched upon. So I think
Okay.
those things also hold value.
If you have to talk about the timeline or the time it takes for the process.
Yeah, so it depends on which round you are applying.
Okay.
If you're targeting early rounds, then start your applications early. Make sure that you plan your GMAT right, since it's applicable for quite some years. If you're happy with this score, then maybe uh, 2 months in advance, just start writing your essays and start talking to people about how the school is, trying to know more about who are the alumni and what kind of work they're working, like what kind of fields they're working on. Just try to work on your essays, SOPs, and also the interview prep. So I think 2 to 3 months in advance of the round is a good time frame, given that you're already happy with your GMAT score.
Yeah. So how was the interview experience? So once you submit your application, then you get a shortlist for an interview. How was that interview experience, if you remember any of the questions?
Yeah, yeah. So I think for ESCP, for me, the interview went well. There's a panel of, if I remember correctly, 3 to 4 people. One of them can be professor, one of them probably someone from the admission committee, and another person was an alumnus. So I think we majorly talked about my profile, my experiences, which I mentioned in my application. So make sure whatever you have mentioned in your resume and in your essays, you're sure about that and you can actually defend it. Please don't try to state things just to have a strong profile and it might not be true, because then it's very easy
Yeah.
for an interview to know that. And we talked a lot about my professional experience, my my academic scores, and my extracurricular activities. They also asked me that why do I want to get into ESCP. They asked me about my short-term career goals and long-term goals. So please prepare these questions. They're quite basic, and I've also mentioned them a lot on my channel. In case you're not sure, there's an interview guide. But yeah, and also know a little bit about France in general. They also asked me why France, and are you also learning the language? So yeah,
Yeah.
these questions are quite basic, and you can expect them in your interview.
Few of the questions that I was looking on, they were like, if you cover these three topics, like why you want to pursue this degree, and why this school, and why should we select you. If you are able to answer these questions, I think most of the questions will be easy for you to actually answer in the
For
essay or
sure. Yep, they're quite important, and I also like used to write some points down as my preparation notes to make sure that I don't to make sure that I don't forget the important points. I would not recommend to memorize, but make sure that you've got some interview notes handy with you. It just helped me
okay.
a lot.
Okay.